Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today is April 2nd, 2024, and you are listening and watching the Daily AI Show live. And today we are talking about getting your business ready for GPT-5 and beyond. And today we have a good part of the crew here. We've got Beth, Jyunmi, Andy, Robert's here again today. Always happy to see Robert. And Brian.
I feel like I'm a guest or something. Like, what does that mean? Oh, Robert's
well, I mean, we're, we're happy to see you.
Well, yes, I know.
We're always happy to see your smiling face, Robert.
Oh.
And we'll see if, I don't know if Carl maybe pop in here in a little bit. So this was actually a topic that came up during another show. And we were just sort of talking. I don't remember what the topic was of that day. Doesn't matter. And we were just talking about, GPT-5, my best guess is fall before we go any further. Anybody else want to make any other guesses? I think, Robert, you actually said next year. Did you guess
actually, the article in Information said that they're early next year is when they're going to launch GPT-5. But
okay. Anybody think summer or sooner?
I was thinking summer, but the information is pretty accurate when it makes predictions like that.
That could be false news. They're doing it on purpose just to throw everybody off the scent, And here we are.
I think we're going to do an interim release before 5.
Right. That too.
Right.
And so really, and honestly, this show isn't even necessarily about what do we think GPT-5 is going to be. We've kind of covered that in other shows. We will come back to it again. There's always going to be more information coming out of OpenAI. And I agree, Jyunmi, we're going to have a lot of like these, even Sam said it on the Lex Freeman podcast. We will have several releases of other things. I don't know if that's like a DALL-E release, a code interpreter release, new custom GPTs. I don't know what he was referencing. He just said there'll be several more things coming out before GPT-5. So we're somewhere between 4 and 9 months, let's guess. Something like that. 3 and 9 months, 4 and 9 months. So not even still, only like a 6-month window of when we think this new elevated model comes out. Now, Anthropic could also come out with a model between now and then that's much stronger. This topic today is really about, okay, you run an organization, or you're a CRO, or you're a CMO, or whatever the case is. You work at a company, and you're trying to think ahead. You're trying to think, how do I not paint myself into a corner accidentally with these new tools and evolutions of what AI is doing? So if I'm sitting here today on April 2nd, 2024, what could I best do for my business to be ready for whatever this new model is? Or it doesn't have to be from OpenAI. It's any of the companies, some new AI that's going to kind of, once again, raise the benchmarks, change the game, be the new standard of the best that's out there. And so what can you do about that? So I definitely have my ideas about this, but before I do that, does anybody want to kind of, jump in here or set the stage or anything like that? No? Okay.
I think that
go for it, Andy.
Okay. So,
okay, good.
No, go ahead, Robert. I want
I think the problem with the premise is that we don't know what they're going to throw at us. So I don't know what to prepare for. So, like, if you're thinking about, are they going multimodal? They already did that. Okay? Are they going agency where there's going to be more automation with regard to some of the tasks? Are they going to do some other version of plugins and GPTs like they did before? Like, we didn't see GPTs coming. Plugins we kind of saw coming, but that went away and it's gone now. So, like, are they going to release something with GPT-5 or are those just feature sets? Or so is GPT-5 going to be that much, oh my gosh, my brain is hurting, how awesome this is? Like, even if that's the case, I don't know how to prepare for what we don't know is going to happen. That's my only thinking.
Well, I think it's the base. It's the base things that you can do to get your company from no AI to AI, so that when the next big thing comes in and is a paradigm shift and all those other, types of words, that those are the base things that we're looking at, right? We talked about in the past, like, you wanted to use code interpreter. Well, you got to make sure that your data is clean and properly set up. You want your entire company to be using AI and have the employees all have, a base level of experience and how they should approach AI and the security measures and that kind of thinking in place before the next huge thing comes out.
Yeah. And I think that now that you said that, I have a brilliant point. I think the best thing to do right now is make sure that whenever and as you're, two things. One, you got to integrate something now. Like get in the practice of having some AI solutions embedded in workflows inside your organization, right? Not a huge ERP tool that you're committed to. An agnostic operation, like AI tools, AI solutions that are agnostic to certain things, so that you can pivot. Like a lot of the time, a lot of the things that we build at WSI, they're automations that you can use Claude or you can use GPT-4. So be ready for pivots, so that when GPT-5 comes out, if it's amazing, you can pivot from another source. So don't be beholden to a certain type of technology or infrastructure, is my point. So that's how you prepare, if I was to guess right now. Thoughts, Andy?
Yeah, I would say the big objective is not to wait around for GPT-5 or any future model, but to start to put the infrastructure and stack in place that's multi-model. And increasingly, there's a need to really begin designing and engineering automations of business processes that rely on large language models as elements in that sort of sequence of functions. But that requires, a customization and analysis of what your actual business processes are. And you need a technical team inside or on demand available to you to actually build these things. And they're not going to be waiting for GPT-5 or even potentially relying too heavily on the most advanced models for cost reasons, for control reasons. Most of those are closed source. And instead, I think you're going to see that to be really well prepared for the future, you're going to expect that you're going to use multiple models, and the way you're going to architect these things are going to make it possible for you to literally switch over from one language model to another. In fact, you may have multiple of them operating simultaneously at different points in the workflow. So there are really only small functions in the process map today that require the power and expense of something like a GPT-5. GPT-5 is going to be smarter. It's going to have better reasoning, better instruction following. I don't know about you guys, but I run every day into the problem of I'm using GPT-4. I'm asking it to do something that requires some analysis, and it says analyzing. And I wait, the little, clock goes around and says, error analyzing. Let me try that again. Error analyzing. And I'm like, come on. There's so much work that's involved today to try to get it to arrive at a more complex output than simply answering a question or summarizing a document. GPT-5 will be a lot better at that, but that's not really closely aligned with what your internal business process automation roadmap ought to be. That's going to go, I think, towards this multi-model future where open source is going to be the right solution for you for various reasons. And, so don't wait around for the big players, Gemini, OpenAI with GPT-5, Anthropic. Don't wait for them to solve your business problems. Start getting the teams together inside now, working on the easy things, and then build that capability until you get to the right place. So the right place may include GPT-5 for some small set of your functions, but it's not going to be the heart and soul of what business process management is about.
So I think I want to go back. Maybe I agree with you, by the way, Andy and Robert. But I want to I think I'm closer to where you were, Jyunmi, on this. So it's at least where my brain is. And I know I'm a broken record when it comes to data, but this is where this is why I say what I say. And truthfully, I just want to make this clear. If I was literally hired by a company tomorrow, what I'm about to say is exactly what I would lay out as the process. I don't know that necessarily the company would be up for it or feel like they could take on the challenge, but this is exactly what I would tell them. And that's that when I was in working in the business intelligence space, it was very, very common for people to come and say, we have this great idea. For instance, we worked with port authorities and things like that. Tons of data for the ships and the moving and the logistics. I mean, massive amounts of data coming in daily. Data was not the problem. And then they would say, I want to do this predictive or prescriptive analytics on it. And I'm not saying every single time, but what often happened is they would get to our consultants. It wasn't me. It was people who could write SQL and do really cool things with data analytics and build amazing dashboards and different tools. But ultimately what would happen is, I would say 75% of the time is we would find out that their data was not structured well enough in order to go and do the things that they wanted to. The business wanted to, they knew it was possible, they could see it, but they couldn't achieve it because they just didn't have their house in order the way they needed to. And I find that AI is playing by the same playbook that I saw in 2017 with the data and business intelligence. I find it to be very similar. I see a lot of the same theories and stories coming up. And then you start hearing, oh, AI is more about a data problem. And I agree. So this is what I would say to a business. And maybe all businesses are in different places, but this is what I would say. Number one, how structured, how clean is your data right now? And I mean all of it. Where are you bringing in data? Are you bringing in billions of rows of data because you have like a logistics or the supply chain type situation where your business does that? In which case you have so many points of data, right? Where is it housed? Is it in data lakes? Is it in Snowflake? Is it a wherever? Okay, great. Is it also organized and structured to a way? Do you have any data silos currently in your company? Do you know for sure that, finance using the best data that they have is also using the same version of the data over in marketing or whatever the case is? And depending on the size and scope of a business, this is going to change drastically. It could be a very easy solution or it could be a very painful, hard solution. But that to me is that's clearing the ground and laying the first layer of cement on the ground that say, this is what I can build off of. Now, once you get there, step 2 for me is, okay, what are your processes currently today? What do you actually do? I don't need to go into necessarily like the movie Office Space and be like, what do you do? But it has to be what your processes?
You do here?
Right, exactly. What are your processes? And I actually need you to go, and we need to have some like points that are going to come back as part of this project on each of the teams, and I need them to go out and source this information. Not because we're trying to get rid of people, but we just need to better understand what are the processes that we're doing and what are those steps. Now, if you have your data and your foundation and you deeply understand your processes, I am of the opinion that you can not only build AI solutions today, you can build AI solutions long into the future. You can use open source. You can get to agents when they come out. You can deploy whatever it is, the GPT-5 or Anthropic Claude 4 or whatever it is. You will be able to use those and capitalize on those new advances if your house is in order first. But if you're expecting to get a new AI tool to fix your data problem or fix your messiness inside your house, it ain't going to happen. I mean, there might be an AI tool that does a little bit of that job for you, organizes, cleans up data. Sure.
Actually, current AI. So I'm going to do a little bit of a pushback that I didn't think was a pushback. The good news about what Brian is talking about is that current AI is really great at structuring unstructured data. So if you're doing Brian's like pull everything out of the closet and see what you got, and you realize you have a ton of unstructured data, that's not a hard lift for AI, but you do need to add the structure. Same thing. If you have, like, you could sit with somebody who does not want to draw their process map because like they would, you could pull their toenails before they want to do that. Yeah. You could have them literally record the steps that they're doing and give that, transcribe that, and then give that to ChatGPT or another system, and it will draw the process map for you. So AI is your friend in doing all of this prep.
So on the idea of process, 100% agree with everybody on processing. That's one of the main pillars of our engagement we do with clients. But not to get into that, but process mapping is exactly where I think AI is going to solve the biggest conundrum among its staffers or employees is, will AI take my job? Well, it will eventually, but the beauty of going in and doing it this way is you're baby stepping. You're saying, here is 20 tasks you have. This task takes 20 clicks. We're going to short it down to 10 clicks. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
That's such an annoying task for me, blah, blah, blah. Upscale that employee 10%. Boom, done. Next employee. So if you start doing that inside organizations, which is what we do, then you're not scaring employees. You're getting them to welcome the adoption of AI solutions,
Right.
and you're slowly onboarding them to the new tech. So getting your business ready for GPT-5 is about slowly integrating. We're not taking, this is a lot of people think of it like this. If you watch the movie Willy Wonka, not the most recent one, the one before that, the one with Johnny Depp, there was the guy who the father put on his job was at the toothpaste factory, and he screwed on the tops of the toothpaste. That was his job. Screw. And they got a machine that did it for him. Instantly, overnight, lost all these jobs with these people, right? That's not how AI is being employed right now. And at least that's not what we're on this call that we're suggesting. We're suggesting employing it in little aspects of people's processes. So all this process mapping is crucial. I love the idea, Beth, of even doing a Loom video, having the person just follow that person through their clicks, and then have the AI process map it. Very easily done. But what we do is we actually get on a call and we have the person just talk about it. And we build a Miro board in real time of all their tasks for them. And then boom, there's your process map. It's like, oh my gosh, that's great. So if you're conversational with them about what their jobs are, it's much easier than putting together a process map on a document. Yes, I agree. I wouldn't do it, let alone ask somebody else to do it.
So the other thing that is important in this, and it's one of the things that you see as new models come out, like Claude Opus, is it's a really good idea to have a series of prompts that you use that are at the top edge of function, right? So if you have a prompt that fails, keep it. Like, do your due diligence. Did you write it correctly? But that is actually, you have a set of prompts, like Mike Kaput on the Artificial Intelligence show was talking about this last week. He has a set of prompts that he runs each time a new model comes out or each time a new update comes out, just to see what's different, because we know that prompts function differently based on changes. It's not software that's just adding a function. It's literally changing the way that the model engages with what you're telling it to do or asking it to do. And that is a personal, but also a bespoke to your business indication of where functions are changing, perhaps improving, perhaps need a difference. I mean, Brian can talk a lot about the changing functions of writing prompts for GPT. But that is a key, and that's evaluation. You can't get out of evaluation. The other side of evaluation is that the more research that's coming out, the more we're finding ways to make better use of lower quality models like 3.5. So a paper came out recently that said if you get 3.5 to think about it for a little while, it actually does better than GPT-4 on some tasks. That's also an evaluation piece, right? So evaluation, getting up to speed on evaluation, how you want to evaluate, what you want to evaluate. And we do that work if you want to talk to people about it.
Well, I think what we're saying here too is, look, we know AI is going to get smarter, better, faster at a lot of these individual processes. But where AI will almost always fall down, it might be a tool to help you through the process, like you're saying, Beth, you're saying, Robert. But where AI is always going to have a little bit of a blind spot is, how do you run your business? How do you uniquely run your business? If I take 5 businesses all in the same sub-industry, there's a chance that they all uniquely run a little bit different. Fine, great, that's not a problem. But if you don't map that, if you don't deeply understand what that is, if you don't get it out of your head, how many times do I talk to I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I talk to CEOs, more for the ghostwriting side of it. And the hardest part is getting their ideas out of their head. They're geniuses. I've talked to men, I've talked to women of different age ranges and different generations. I've talked to all of them as far as I'm concerned. And what I find over and over again is very hard to get conceptual ideas out of their head they know to be true. They've been running the business off of. Now this business is expanding and people are going, hey, I can't ask you and stop you every single time. I need to know how to do this next process. And it is painful for these leaders to do that. The thing is, you got to get that out of your head. You can't be the only one. You can't be a gatekeeper at any one company on how this works, because it's going to hurt your company and damage the long-term, profits and benefits of the company for AI. Because AI can only do what it can do. It can't get in your brain as of right now. That's not the way Neuralink works. So until there's a process where it can take your thoughts, your messy thoughts, your unstructured data, that's a little bit of this, that, and the other, and it can do it. The best we have right now is to, like you guys say, just talk out loud and let AI structure it. Or like I did last week, I took an entire mind map that I created in Canva that my boss, he would say this too. Like he said, Brian, I don't know what any of this means. And he's a smart guy. And I said, it makes perfect sense to me. So I took a screenshot of the Canva mind map, put it in the ChatGPT, and I said, reorganize this basically for my boss. And I reorganized it and put it on a Google sheet. And he said, I get it. So you can use AI to help you with these things. I just think people are thinking too far down the road. And my thing is like, don't wait. We would all say this. Don't wait. God knows the worst thing you can do is wait for GPT-5. Start doing all this stuff that I hear you guys saying about putting the little processes in place now. Start using it daily, whether it's just to replace that. I don't know, Robert, you said like it takes 10 clicks down to 7. That's a great place to be, because it's going to be so much easier to take new, inventive, really impactful agents when that figures out, and figure out how to deploy them if everybody is already using the processes today. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. That's where I am on this. And I just think people are thinking about AI, and they think they need to be thinking about their house. I just don't I'm like, that's where the problem is more than likely. And by the way, when you fix it, it's going to fix a lot of other problems and inefficiencies in your business anyway that have nothing to do with AI, and improve your ROI regardless. So go clean your house. It sucks, but go clean it. Nobody wants to do it. It's what needs to be done.
Okay, it doesn't have to suck. I'm just going to say, there are facilitation techniques. I don't mean actually cleaning your house. I think actually cleaning your house maybe always sucks. But coming together as a community in a business to make some forward movements, figure some things out, that does not have to be a sucky process. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. So I want to point out that most companies have a cloud service provider, whether it's Google or
AWS or
Amazon
Salesforce
or whatever, and there are AI tools that are built into that. Let's take, Microsoft, you have access to the OpenAI models with a higher degree of sort of information security and enterprise software capability within that sort of Copilot ecosystem that Microsoft is putting out there in the Office 365 world. So in terms of GPT-5 being turned on inside that, I don't think there's going to be a dramatic new level of capability that's demonstrated when GPT-5 comes out that isn't already possible at some level of accomplishment with GPT-4 within the Azure AI, ecosystem. There is one thing, however, so that all just, I say all that because I say you should be working within whatever the cloud service provider and AI system is that's attendant to that right now to try to start to build, using what the capabilities that are currently offered with GPT-4. Don't wait for GPT-5. But when GPT-5 does come out, I think there's one area where it will probably have something that's better. And one of it will be agency, like the whole idea of meta prompting, where you can give the AI the instruction as a goal. The objective is this: I want to do X, Y, and Z. And it's going to create a series of entities internally in its working mind, if you will, to come to a solution. That's this idea of meta prompting. And it'll subtasks will be delegated out to those, and then it'll come back with an answer. But those are very complex processes that are ad hoc to a large degree. They're not the kinds of things that you're going to put a routinized automation in place for. you do have a large language model providing some input to such a long-term or sequential process. But the other thing that's going to happen is there are these things called action models. So large action model is what's behind R1. And they've trained their large language model to be able to observe and then reproduce actions that you teach it. I believe that ChatGPT-5 will have training in that domain. That's action model capability. And it's probably going to be, as GPT-4 was, a kind of a mixture of experts kind of aggregation of multiple defined capabilities. And one of them is going to be this action model capability. And that will change the game a little bit, because you might be able to use a large language model with this action model capability to automate a business process literally at the desktop by watching what you do. And there are tools out there right now that can do this kind of desktop automation of your own computing process. And then that takes this whole process of finding out where in your business processes you can add AI enhanced automations, and it brings it down to the individual contributor level. How can I provide my team, those individual contributors, with AI that can learn from them and reproduce what they're doing for them on their own desktop? That's another level of AI implementation that I think is coming, and will be provided by the major LLM providers, through your cloud service.
So that exists now, right? Again, like it wasn't that ChatGPT's functions didn't exist prior to ChatGPT. It was that ChatGPT was an amazing interface and people could get it. Power Automate is free if you have a Windows computer. What we're talking about is you have to figure out Power Automate, which does also suck, the word of the day. But you'll just say, hey, watch me, right? And then be able to clean it up on the back end.
That takes that higher level analytical and reasoning capable large language model to provide that sort of assistant role that will prevent you from having to code Power Automate, right? Because right now there's a bit of coding that's associated, and Power Automate is a Microsoft tool.
So I just want to say one last thing, since I know that people are going to do their wrap up. I want to do mine now. Robert said in the beginning, how do you prepare for change that's coming that you don't know what it is? And there are answers to that. It's one of the reasons that I bring some of the improv experiences that I have in my training. And that is because you can prepare for something. You can practice resiliency in the face of change. We often talk about change management. We talk about change management typically when we know exactly what is going to happen, like it's going to be in the next month. So now we're going to do some change management work, or we do it on the back end. But there is no reason that you can't do it on the front end, right? You can ruggedize your staff. You can increase resiliency. You can build innovation so that you are ready when the answer to, if this is true now, what is true next, changes, because if this is true now is different, but it's still the same process.
And like you said,
I'd say my wrap up.
Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in, because you always say it, Beth, but AI literacy, have an AI literacy policy, procedure, something. Sorry, go ahead, Jyunmi.
No, I was just going to say, this is also a great opportunity. We've talked about cleaning up your data, getting your house in order, having establish your change agents. Robert, you're talking about making sure to integrate AI on those various levels so that everyone in the company is comfortable with it. But there's also an aspect of future thinking, right? Use this opportunity to, once you've gotten everybody with that a little bit more exposure, but opening up the thought process of just saying, hey, let's think of new ways. Now that you've got a little experience with it, let's think of the new ways that we can expand our business opportunities. Can we offer new services? Can we explore with AI things that we thought we couldn't do before, right? Because it just gives us more options to work with, right? And I think the key takeaway with that is it improves your talent pool, right? Right now in technology, we've seen lots of like layoffs and things like that. But what we have seen on an increase is the talent becomes much more important for a business because of things like the work in AI. All of the people who know about this technology and have been on every level of it integrated into their business. I mean, we've seen like NVIDIA making the pitchforks and, shovels versions of the technology for everyone to go for this gold mine here. But investing in your employees and your talent will just make everything better for your company, because that's the one thing people don't have, is they don't have the experience with it. It's too new. So if you have a talent pool of people, that's an incredibly valuable resource for you.
Yeah, 1,000% agree on that. I'll say mine real quick. I mean, we're kind of doing a wrap up here, but I'll just share this quote because I think there's variations of this quote. Jerry Rice certainly is the other one, but it's today I'll do what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't. And if I'm a business leader right now, that's the quote I would have up on the wall, because do the things. Maybe they don't suck. Maybe they're just not as much fun. Maybe it takes organizing in ways and getting people to do a little extra work to figure out what the process is and stuff like that. But do what your competitors aren't willing to do today. There's a lot of your competitors, I don't care what industry you're in, that are just sitting still today, and they're not doing a lot of the stuff we talked about on this show. And so I would say do what they won't do, so that when this next AI, whatever it is, GPT-5 or the next latest, we don't know, comes out, you can move so fast to deploy and use that AI tool and use it as a competitive leverage against your competitors. I think that's what I would say to do.
So I got on TLDR. I love all three of you, what you just said. No, wait, and Andy. It's all four of you. But what I was going to say, based on the Jerry Rice quote, definitely do what others. But what's important is if you're an enterprise, all right, if you're not an enterprise, you are in your acres of diamonds, as my old boss used to say. If you're in your acres of diamonds, all you got to do is bend down and pick them up. Your small SMBs have an opportunity now that's unlike anything else in the history of mankind, because when you're with these big companies, they take so much to turn their ship, to reintegrate technology, to train their staff. They're amongst a huge problem, because the bigger the company, the harder it is to make change, right? So right now, if you want to get ready, as everybody's saying, do it now, upskill your employees, train. If you have 20 employees, brilliant. You're going to be able to leapfrog those competitors that are 10 times your size by the very nature of your nimbleness. So do it now while you can. That's how you prepare, because when they get a hold of this and they integrate it at scale, you're going to be in trouble. So be there before them is my suggestion. But awesome.
All right, I'm going to try to share my screen here quickly. Tell me if this works. Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. Wow, that's weird. Okay, I'm not going to share my screen. Here's my point. So here's a short list. Get your pencils out. Here's a short list in descending order of the things that enterprises are using AI automations for deployed to production. First one, text summarization. The second one, enterprise knowledge management. Hoovering up all of that data you've got all over the company and putting it into a retrievable form. Customer service, marketing copy, software development, and contract review. Those are the business processes that enterprises are actually using. Take that list and see which ones of those, starting with the one at the top, you can actually start to use. Where can you take dense documents and get them summarized for you instantly by AI and present that to the user. That's the top one. And then data and knowledge management tools on top of that, AI can help you build that out.
Yep. All right. Well, listen, we'll leave it there. I think hopefully anybody listening to this who was maybe thinking, where do I go next? You have some ideas on what you should be thinking about for your own company, whether it's, 20 people, 10 people, or 200 or more. Tomorrow we'll be talking about the news as always on Wednesday. Thursday, we have well, this is a fun topic to me, but we have a lighter topic, a more silly topic on Thursday, which is always fun to do. And we're going to be talking about, what movies in the past do we think got close enough to, AI of the future based on what we can predict, right? We don't know it all either. And so it'll be really interesting to hear everybody's perspective on that. That should be a fun conversation. And then on Friday, we have our, what did we just say? So it's like sort of our 2-week recap show. It's always a lot of fun. We always bring up new topics. All of us are all looking to talk about a different, previous show. So it makes it for a super fun conversation. So that's what we have going on the rest of this week. Hope you guys will come back and check us out. And that's it. We'll be done. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Aloha.